Good evening, Captain Smith.
Hello, Officer Jerome. You know that I arrested a juvenile today for drug dealing. I gonna try and get him charged as an adult.
Pardon for me saying so, but unless it was a repeat offense or excess amount, he should just go to juvie hall.
Well, if they do a big enough sentence, they should go to a jail. Safety as a society is worth perpetrators' freedom. Besides, public opinion is for juveniles going to jail. According to a survey by the Gallup organization, 65% think they should get the same treatment as adults, whereas only 24% wanted more lenient treatment.
That survey also was taken in 2000 and 2003. You gave the 2003 results, however, in 2000, only 59% wanted the same treatment as adults and 32% wanted lenient treatment. I am surprised you would tell only half a story after being in the force for 30 years.
Well, in those 30 years I've learned that a 17-year-old or even 15 years old have criminal intent. So it's safer to get them off the streets. And besides, 2003 is the more recent, and thus, more applicable, opinion.
Most states that have downsized or closed juvenile facilities have been able to save or reallocate money while protecting public safety. The National Juvenile Justice Network, NJJN, argues that state programs designed to decrease the number of youth in juvenile facilities have cut costs and increased public safety. In fact, California saved over $525 million between 2007 and 2010 by cutting the number of incarcerated youth. Rather than automatically placing troubled youth in juvenile facilities, whether or not they pose a risk to public safety, states should place them in programs that meet their needs. They said, most states that have downsized or closed juvenile facilities have been able to save or reallocate money while protecting public safety.
Yes, but that is wrong, because I'd rather a safer society than a criminal on the streets. And since groups like that help to convince policymakers to close place like Hickey in Maryland, we have to put some of them in jails or jeopardize public safety because we have nowhere to put the criminals.
Most states that have downsized or closed facilities have been able to save or reallocate money while protecting public safety due to the high expense of incarceration and the greater effectiveness of less costly community-based alternatives. So your logic seems not to make sense.
But then they can get less criminals, and those that remain can fall into crime again. Police aren't everywhere. Also, the Ryan Zimmerman case, though he wasn't a juvenile, is an example of many community-based alternatives that go wrong.
Okay, but the jail facilities are not safe because the jails, you privatize them and profit is put over life.
By doing that, we actually increase public safety because we cops have time to nab more criminals, whereas not needing to be prison guards. Also, the facilities are overseen and regulated. This evens out the effect of other prisoners' influence in juvenile prisoners.
Okay, then what about the death penalty? Juveniles, at the age they commit the crime, shouldn't get it?
I'd rather public safety than value a life. For example, in Roper vs. Simmons, a killer got off without the capital death penalty because he was a minor when he committed the crime. One person is less consequential than many more harmed members of society. In Ohio authorities have yet to decide whether or not accused school shooter T.J. Lane will be tried as an adult for allegedly killing 3 people. In Jackson vs. Hobbs, 2004, Contrell Jackson was sentenced to life without parole in prison for a homicide committed when he was 14. According to a brief filed by the Equal Justice Initiative, Jackson participated in the attempted robbery of a video store in 1999. One of Jackson's accomplices shot and killed the clerk, and in 2003, Jackson was convicted of first-degree felony murder and sentenced to life without parole. Does he get the right to walk free or the right to life with parole when he full well knew his crime?
Well, there are exceptions like him. He got life for his crime.
So? In Miller vs. Alabama, Evan Miller, when 14, killed a neighbor and set his house on fire in 2003. Miller was convicted of capital murder in the course of arson. Testimony revealed that Miller had been the victim of violent, abusive and addicted parents. He attempted to hang himself at age 5, began drinking and using drugs at age 8, and attempted suicide several times before committing the homicide for which he received life without parole. It don't matter, he should have reported.
but he felt trapped. According to his own testimony, so his punishment without parole was unfair.
He knew what was doing and deserves the punishment. Also, he could have always reported it to authorities.
Okay, you win.
We better go to them. I'll call it into the station.